Welcome to the source. The source. Source. Hey, get the source.
Good morning. Hope you all enjoyed your Saturday. I definitely did. It wasn't like a 10-1 day, but I think I went like 7-4 or something. Another winning day. Top bets went 2-1. College football, man. I was getting killed there. If you rewind a month ago, 3 straight winning weeks. College football has become a friend to me, and I hope that we remain friends moving forward. Still got a long way to go in that season and bowl season. But we're here to talk NFL. Prop Beaver's wearing a Gruden Loves Football hat.
Got me feeling nicey.
So Prop Beaver's repping his set. Gruden Loves Football. Steve couldn't make it today, and Toast couldn't make it today.
Two scrubs.
What?
I said 2 scrubs, but we have the almighty, dependable, crispy Cappin.
Two
Love
people
this dude.
that have their priorities mixed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris is about as dependable as it comes.
Try my best, fellas.
We got no bye weeks this week, so we have a lot to talk about. A lot of these games are, well, I shouldn't say a lot of them. There's definitely a few of them that are a little tough. We're going to do our best. So first up is Arizona, Miami. The more I looked at it this morning, looked at it last night after I uploaded the video, really considering taking the points here with Arizona. This line opened up 2.5. Clearly, action came in heavy on the Dolphins at under a field goal. Seemed to be bouncing out here at 4. I was taking a closer look at the Dolphins defense because last night I was like, guys, the Dolphins defense has been playing well, and it has. But, okay, look at their last 3 quarterbacks they've seen. The Colts with Anthony Richardson, not the most dynamic of passers, I'm sure you know. The Patriots, the Titans. Those are the Dolphins' last 3 games. So are we really going to throw them a parade for having some nice-looking pass defense numbers recently after seeing those 2 quarterbacks? And the run defense has been okay this year, but they've gotten run on pretty heavily a few times. Arizona, they're running the ball. This is, I believe, the number 1 rushing efficiency offense in the NFL last year. Cardinals are coming in running the ball. Dolphins pass defense a little bit, maybe a bit of a sell high spot after the last 3 weeks. I just am scared of what if Tua's back and all of a sudden the 2023 Dolphins show up. If that team shows up, they win by 14. So it has to be Cardinals here. As of right now, I don't have a bet. I think Prop Beaver actually did bet the Cardinals, right?
I'm debating putting just a half unit on it right now. It would be my literal lowest. It would be my lightest bet of the day. I don't think I've placed a half unit bet, honestly, this season. I haven't been really placing a half unit bet. Shooter. Yeah, I've been a heavy shooter this season, but I don't know. This Cardinals team, I'm thinking about just putting a light bet on it just due to the fact that I'm not really the biggest Kyler Murray fan in the world, but this dude loves playing the AFC. I believe that he's... let me go ahead and get the trend up. I don't want to go ahead and botch it, but what Kyle was alluding to about the Dolphins defense is true. We've been talking about the fact that this Dolphins defense is held up while Tua is gone. It's pretty easy to hold up against some absolute scrubs. Now that you're going to face Kyler Murray, who, yes, I'm not the biggest fan of, but has his highs and has his lows. If he has his high here, it's going to be tough to stop him. He is the king of inconsistencies, and if you follow the pattern here, his passer ratings as follows: 91, 158, 76, 104, 79, 98, 67. If you follow the pattern, he's due for a bounce back here. And Kyler loves covering against the AFC. 9-3-1 against the spread in his last 13 matchups. If you look on the road, a perfect 6-0-1 against the spread in his last 7 opportunities. And where I'm really scared for this Miami defense is on the ground. They're 30th in DVOA. And if you look, this Cardinals team, they're second in gapped attempt opportunities. The Miami rush defense is 29th in yards per carry allowed compared to 2nd in yards per carry allowed against zone in terms of gap. So, yeah, I think I'm going to bet a light bet on the Arizona defense. On the Arizona Cardinals. Am I a bit scared about that defense? Absolutely. But let's be honest, Tua wasn't really looking good in the first game of the season against a Jaguars defense that is just as abysmal as this Cardinals defense. So I'll take the points with Arizona and Kyler, who loves some AFC Bowl.
Someone just said happy National Tight End Day in the comments. Is that every day? If they're 365 national, I thought that was last Sunday because we were making fun of it.
No, I think somebody blew their load last Sunday.
Oh,
Got too excited.
They prematurely celebrated.
People really love those tight ends, man.
Wow. All right. Chris, any thoughts on this one?
My thoughts are similar to what Prop Beaver just said. I think this is actually 4.5 on a couple books as well. So money continuing to come in. I think I didn't bet it either, but my thoughts are very, very similar to what Prop Beaver said. The problem is, like you said, Cal, in the beginning, Miami's 15-2 straight up, 10-6-1 against the spread. That's 62.5% when Tua starts as a home favorite of 3 or more. Kyler Murray, on the other hand, though, is 18-7-2 against the spread as a road dog. That's 72%. And I'm just not thinking that he's just going to come back in here. Like even so all right, so let's just say, the Miami Dolphins win the game and they win it by field goal. Will they be happy? Absolutely. So we can get a point and a half. I think you take it here. I like fading Kyler more so when he's closer to a favorite and not necessarily when the line is this big. So I agree. I think the Dolphins defense can struggle, especially against a scrambling quarterback. I would be taking the +4.5 here.
Yeah, I the reason I haven't bet this and probably won't, a couple reasons. Number one, don't like betting Kyler Murray coming off a win, but it's not necessarily that. I had the Cardinals on Monday night against the Chargers, so I won my bet. Watched the entire game. I felt like I was on the wrong side the entire time. The Chargers looked like the significantly better team. So, I mean, a lot of the action that comes in are just looking at final scores. No criticism of it, but that's just a fact. People are looking like, this team just beat the Chargers. No, they didn't. Yeah, they won the game, but they didn't beat the Chargers. I mean, Chargers were handing the ball off and getting 5 yards every single time, moving right down the field. They kept shooting themselves in the foot. So part of me thinks it's a little bit of a sell high on the Cardinals that looked terrible last week, but it'd only be Cardinals or pass. Let's move on.
I mean, people are mentioning the Call of Duty. They just dropped, so.
What did?
The Black Ops 6. I mean, literally just dropped over the weekend, so.
Who gives a shit? All right, next game.
We got Patriots Jets.
All right, so I I have a bet down in this game, and I don't like it. I bet it last night. Looking back, I really don't know why I bet this. So I have, Jesus, it's embarrassing to even say. I have Chargers moneyline, Jets moneyline parlay. I didn't realize the Jets secondary was quite this banged up. Believe they're going to have their 4th and 5th safeties starting in the game. Is that accurate, Prop Beaver? 4th and 5th safeties, right?
Yeah, it's
Chuck
tough
Clark
scene out there.
Chuck Clark, Tony Adams, Ashton Davis, all out.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the Jets are going to have their 4th and 5th safeties starting. Jalen Mills, I believe, is starting at safety for the Jets. It scares the shit out of me. So there should be a graphic for this one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the bet I actually placed is Jets, Chargers moneyline parlay. If you're trying to make a pick against the spread in this one, I'd probably lean towards New England at the full 7. With the injury to the Jets secondary, and I mean, now what's his name? Lazard might not even play. Who, with all the discomfort we see from Aaron Rodgers, he's kind of been the area of solace, or you know what I mean, where when he throws to Lazard, it looks like everything's all right. Sorry, something just popped up on my screen and broke my train of thought there. So with no Lazard too, Jets also no Vera Tucker. I really am not liking this bet. I have money on it, but I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's only... I will say, there's a hint of bias in this. I despise the Jets at this point. This team's an absolute disgrace. I am a Jets fan. I did come into the season with the ultimate optimism, and to say that they have disappointed is unreal. I didn't understand the Devontae trade to go further into the hole with this 1-year-old quarterback or 40-year-old quarterback that's likely not going to return next season. I thought was absolutely moronic. So I feel that there is somewhat some bias in this, but at the same time, you got Aaron Rodgers on the road, who's been significantly worse going back to 2022, and now you're laying 7 points. I just don't really understand here. Yes, the Jets absolutely beat the shit out of the Patriots in the first matchup this season. That's dope. Jacoby Brissett is a piss stain in terms of quarterback play in this league. Drake May has been fantastic back there. I think he would have looked a lot better last week, and he did look quite well if his receivers would have caught the ball. I mean, Jalen Polk, Mr. Best Hands in the league, guy can't fucking catch shit to save his life. So if he would have caught some balls, then that stat line would have looked phenomenal. I just really think that the quarterback play has been elevated there, and the Jets defense on the road simply is not that good. You see the yards per attempt goes from 4.2 to, I believe, 7.4 on the road. That is horrendous. You see the points per game go from 12 to 27 on the road. This is just a Jets defense that, going back to last year, I just simply do not trust on the road. Now you're getting elevated quarterback play from the opponent. You're getting deflated quarterback play from your own quarterback. You got your safeties missing. You got Elijah Vera Tucker out in this one. So yeah, it's Patriots or pass.
Chris?
Patriots a pass for me as well. It's a lot of what you said, Beaver. While the Patriots are 1-6 straight up, 1-5-1 against the numbers so far this season. I mean, laying a full touchdown on the road with a team that's 2-5, I can't quite get there. It really is just that simple. I think quarterback play like Beaver said, it'll be a little bit better here as well. I can't lay a full touchdown with the Jets right now. And to your point, Beaver, that game that was played earlier this season between the two teams, that was a short week for New England in that spot as well. First time for Gerard Mayo as well in that spot, like him, like having a coach on a short week. So yeah, I'll be taking the points here. I think there's a bit of optimism, I guess is the word, around New England with Drake May out there. So yeah, plus the points for me as well.
So something that I was concerned with when I first placed the bet, I was like, Drake May definitely gives New England a little more life in terms of throwing the ball. They can't throw the ball in the Jets secondary. Well, on the road in New England with missing all those safeties, DJ Reed is having a terrible season. I don't even know how much fear that Jets secondary strikes into me anymore. I do think the Jets, I do think the Jets win the game because I think Aaron Rodgers, I trust him to make the play at the end of the game rather than Drake May, but no way I'd lay 7. So this is the bet I have. I don't really like it. I
mean, I will say I did not get to the window on this one because I am actually scared the Patriots are unsalvageable. I mean, last week, I really loved that Patriots play in England. I loved that play. And the defense was just so abominable. And the weapons around Drake May were so pissed that they just couldn't even cover that big spread. So it could be the same deal against the Jets today. You never know.
Sounds like over.
It could be. There we go, Chris. You're putting words to my thoughts. Thank you, Benny Skier, by the way, for the super chat. Appreciate the show in the community. We appreciate you, Benny, for watching.
Next up is Atlanta, Tampa Bay. I'm on the Bucs here. I said last night I want a 3. About an hour after I uploaded that video, I was like, fuck it. Like, just took the 2.5, took the money line. I think the Bucs win.
Let's go.
I think this line is a dramatic overreaction from those 2 injuries. And I'm not trying to say those 2 injuries aren't important. Bucs are kind of branded as this passing offense, right, with Baker Mayfield and those 2 guys. But the truth is that's not really what they've been the last handful of games. They've been running the ball. In fact, they've been running the ball more efficiently than any other team in the NFL. The last time the Bucs saw the Falcons, they averaged, I think it was 6.3 yards per carry or 6.2 yards per carry. They ran the ball all over this Falcons defense. And this is a Falcons defense that looks terrible against the run, by the way. We might really have to accept that the Falcons have one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. They're allowing 4.7. Excuse me, I don't know what's going on. They're allowing 4.7 yards per carry in their last 4 games. Those games, the Saints, the Panthers, the Seahawks, that's who Atlanta's struggling to stop the run against. So you have arguably the hottest rushing attack in the NFL. That offensive line is bulldozing people in Tampa Bay. Those 2 receivers out, yeah, it sucks. It's not ideal, but in my opinion, the line movement negates that. I mean, I'm getting the Bucs at home against a team they're better than at plus money with plus 2.5. Keep in mind, Tampa Bay should have beat the Falcons in Atlanta before. If Bucky Irving doesn't fumble, the Bucs win that game. People just glancing back like, the Falcons already beat these guys. Like, no, they really didn't. They lost that game. Bucky Irving fumbled going in. It would have been the game over. I expect the Bucs to hand the ball off a lot, probably 40 times. I also look, without the receivers, sure, it's a concern. Baker Mayfield's going to have all week to throw in the pocket in this game. Tampa Bay's been excellent in pass protection. They're actually up to second in the league in pressure rate allowed. Second. Nobody's getting pressure on Baker Mayfield, and the Falcons have nothing that resembles a pass rush. So Baker Mayfield's going to have all day to throw. They're going to hand the ball off and get 5 yards a carry, hang on to the ball all afternoon. On the other side, it's basically Kirk Cousins, who, he carved the Bucs up in that first game in Atlanta. Not taking credit away from him for that, but I am expecting things to regress to the mean in that department as well. He's not the best quarterback in the world against zone coverage. He's pretty average, and against the blitz, he's a well below average quarterback. We know Todd Bowles is going to be blitzing the hell out of him, so I expect Kirk Cousins to come back down to earth in that department. Will Atlanta be able to run the ball? Probably. But the Bucs are going to be improving in that department as well. They spent most of the beginning of this season with injuries to that defensive front. They're now just getting healthy in that department, coming off the Baltimore game where a lot of teams are going to struggle to stop the run against Baltimore. I think the Bucs are going to win this game, get revenge from blowing the first one. So I'm on Tampa Bay here. I'm taking a quick piss, by the way.
I'll just follow him up because he pretty much hit on everything that I wanted to discuss there. My main 3 points. I agree. Tampa Bay should have won the first game. You could say woulda, coulda, shoulda, but a lot of things with football, I feel like are regression, and regression will swing around. In the first game, we got a game where Kirk Cousins went absolutely nuclear. Kirk Cousins put up his best game of the season, and yet the Bucs were just a crucial Bucky Irving fumble away from winning that game straight up. Irving fumbled the ball at the Atlanta 25 on a 7-yard gain. They had the ball with 2:55 remaining on the clock, up 3. The Falcons throw a pick in field goal range for the Bucs, giving them a second chance. And the Bucs, due to a holding penalty, again don't add points on the board. They punt it back to Atlanta. Falcons kick the game-tying field goal, and Cousins walks it off for the 45-yard field goal. Cousins in that game had 509 yards, 8.8 yards per attempt, 4 TDs, 114.8 passer rating. But the thing is, when me and Kyle were looking at the numbers, it doesn't really make sense because Kirk Cousins has worse numbers against zone. On top of that, some of the coverages that Bowles uses, he doesn't have the best numbers against. And then on top of that, Bowles, we know, is a blitz-heavy coordinator. He blitzes at some of the highest rates in the league on an annual basis. Kirk Cousins does not handle the blitz well at all. On top of that, we're seeing that this Bucs pass rush that's in the bottom 10 of pressure rate on a yearly basis has actually leaped to at least the top 15. So if that pass rush could get some pressure on Kirk Cousins here, I think that they're going to do quite well. And then on the other side, we mentioned it. Godwin and Evans are out. But wide receivers in the NFL, it took a long time for me to process it. I still don't even process it. They're just not that important in terms of the spread. I think they're going to be able to get the ball to Cade Otton here. I'm about to discuss him in a second. And I think they're really going to be able to establish the run. So I think that with all the time that Baker's going to have in the pocket, that they're still going to be able to move the ball here. They're going to establish a run, and they're going to be just fine because there ain't no stopping Cade Otton. Over 40, I think it's 44 and a half receiving yards. I got a bit of reverse line movement here. It happens. It happened to Kyron Williams on Thursday. That was easy for us. Hopefully it's the same deal here. We got Fantasy Dickwad spewing anti-Otton speech about how he's a below average tight end and about how people need to understand how vacated targets work. Eat my schmeat, okay? After a slow start to the season, he had 5 yards on 1 reception and 4 targets. The guy's going off his last 5 games. 51 yards per game, 5 receptions, 7 targets. Now listen to this. He's going to face a Falcons defense that runs zone at the 4th highest rate in the league. That's a whopping 75% of opponent dropbacks. Over the last 5 weeks, it hasn't been Chris Godwin or Mike Evans that leads the team in target percentage against zone coverage, but the Lord, Cade Otton. Cade Otton has accounted for 21% of the team's yards against zone during this period. Now we got Godwins and Evans out. That's 37% of the team's yards and targets versus zone up for grabs. Now, I'm not big enough of a lunatic to say that he's going to take even 5% of that. But if he just keeps pace with what he's done over the last 5 games, then he should smash his total because with 4+ targets and Mayfield, he's over his last 10 to 12 games. With 3+ receptions, he's over 9 straight with Baker. Now he's facing a Falcons fucking defense that's allowed 65 yards, 49 yards, and 44 yards in 3 straight games to tight ends. Come on.
Just to reiterate, in your analysis for Cade Otton's over receiving yards, you told, and I quote, fantasy dickwads to eat your schmeat.
Yes.
All right.
I've had enough of them.
Chris, follow that up.
I can't, and I won't even try. I think these what is this NFC South NFC South games are always like what the point spread is 2.5 coin flip. You guys mentioned it. You know, I think the injuries. I will agree with what Prop Beaver said as far as the injuries to the wide receiver position not meaning as much to the spread. But I don't know, man. Tampa Bay defense just doesn't do it for me either. Like, they're giving up 26 points per game. I kind of lean towards the over. The 26 points per game is like the fourth most, I think, in the NFL right now. And Kirk Cousins is looking a little bit better. I'm not betting Atlanta here, but I do think it's a little bit of an over game. I look at Kirk Cousins in divisional games as a dog, and those games are 11-3 to the over, going over by almost 4.5 points. And I think both teams will be able to score. Maybe we see this total not as high because those wide receivers aren't there. And to you guys' point, Atlanta should be able to. Y'all expecting Atlanta to still be able to score, and I think I mean y'all expecting Tampa Bay to still be able to score, and I think Atlanta will be able to as well. So I lean over, but didn't play it here. Over 45.5, I think is the number.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the next game. This one should be a shootout. Titans-Lions. I will say, and if you watch the video, you already heard me talk about this. You take all those terms, right? Flat spot, letdown spot, look ahead spot, sandwich spot. This is all of that wrapped into one. In fact, this is pretty extreme. You've got the Lions at home in a non-conference game, right? This is one of their AFC games. This is going to be one of the four most meaningless games on their schedule, is the 4 AFC games. So you got the Lions at home against a non-conference team, a shitty non-conference team in the 1 p.m. window where no one's going to be watching. It's about as far as the Lions schedule goes, this is as meaningless as it gets. This game is sandwiched in between at Minnesota and at Green Bay. This Lions team is coming off at Dallas, at Minnesota, then this shitty game, then at Green Bay. We're talking about maybe the two biggest games of the season with this bullshit in between. If you're a person that believes in flat spots, sandwich spots, look ahead spots, insert your sports betting term. It's all of that. It is literally all of that. That being said, the Titans are truly ass. Like I don't know if I've ever seen a team punting in week 2. Like, this team is already like, you know what, 2026 is our year. Like, this team was punting early. I'm not laying 11.5. No chance in hell. I think I said in the video last night that my lean would be Titans first half plus 7.5. I think that's a solid look. I didn't bet it. Titans, one of the best run defenses in the NFL. And specifically, no, you don't generate push on the Titans. They're first in the NFL in adjusted line yards defensively. So this Lions offensive line is used to just bullying whoever they see. They're not going to bully the Titans defensive front because nobody does. I mean, they're first in line yards. No one gets push on this offensive line. So just hear me out. You got the Lions in the least important game of the season, coming off the huge emotional win at Minnesota, the division rival, going to Lambeau next against their other division rival, and they're going to come out in a game where, they might not be able to run the ball in the first quarter. I'm not laying. It would only be Tennessee in some capacity, but I also respect myself, so I'm not betting the Titans.
I'm going to copy and paste your bet. I am a glutton for pain. So what I've done all season is I bet the full spread for the Titans because I'm a stupid idiot bitch. And what I did yesterday is I went on EV Analytics and I looked at the Titans first half spread because you mentioned it to me. I'm like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. Why don't I look at what that is against the spread? It's 4-2 against the spread. This team always starts out hot. Will Levis, for some reason, he puts together a nice drive in the beginning of the game. He lets people know, hey, I'm somewhat competent. I have respect for myself. And then in the second quarter, third quarter is when he lets you know, hey, I'm a dirty rat. That's when he goes and he lets the people know, like, I'm a disgrace. But in the first quarter, the second quarter, he's pretty goddamn good. I know he's not playing in this one, Mason Rudolph is, but, like, if you're going to bet the Titans, you get in and you get out. So in this flat spot, in this sandwich spot, in this whatever you want to call it, if you want to go vegan for the day, if you don't want to bet this, I don't blame you. First half.
Yeah. Chris, you with us?
Yeah. I'm only playing for a second. Here's the problem, though. Probably
Wait,
because I
Titans
looked
first
at that as well. Yeah, no, I didn't bet it, but that's the way I lean as well. It's
Okay.
funny, probably even mentioned it because when I was looking into the same angle, the thing that kept me off, and granted, Kyle, you're right, like flat spot, letdown spot, look ahead, sandwich, all of that, right? Detroit's 5-1 ATS in the first half as well.
Oh shit!
I was like, God,
Didn't even look at that.
Yeah, because I looked into that too. Here's what I did bet. I bet Jared Goff over his pass completions here. The number is 22 or 21 and a half. And it was, I think you mentioned it, Kyle. Like, this is a Tennessee defense that, you know, even though they do suck, like, they can slow down the run at times. And Jared Goff, like, I mean, why not? Like, in this spot, right? Like, this is a team that's number 2 in pass completion percentage so far this season, 73.6%. I think it'll be a lot of, like, dink and donks. I look at Tennessee's defense. They've, like, actually not been that bad on third downs. Like, third down conversion percentage for their opponents is less than 32%, which is the 6th best in the NFL. So I guess I lean towards the under as well, because the flat spot, the look ahead spot, to me says that, like, the offense won't, you know, be cooking. The Detroit Lions are averaging 30 points per game so far this season, which is the 3rd most in the NFL. And I just think that if they're ever going to let down, it'll probably be early. It'll probably be offensively. I don't think Tennessee is going to come out here and, you know, wow anybody with putting up a whole bunch of numbers. But if Detroit's offense wasn't cooking, I could see that. So I think it'll be a lot of little dink and dunk plays for Detroit. I don't think they'll be as explosive. And I don't think that Detroit's going to have success running the football like they have been. So I took Jared Goff up and over 21 and a half pass completions at plus 105 on ESPN bet earlier this week.
Goff over completions. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next one. Prop Beaver, I'm going to do the poll.
Okay.
Because the next one's the Jags, and you need to put Jags plus 4 and Jags money line up for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
Jags are winning this game.
I can't make a Jaguar noise, or else I would have.
It sounds something like
that was very unnecessary. So the Jaguar noise. All right, so we got the Packers, Jags in Jacksonville.
Just want to add to the show, man. Just trying to be the best producer I can every day, man.
Hey, Kyle, let me add two probably. If you're betting on Jacksonville, you need all the noise you can get.
Nah, no
man.
noise necessary. Clean win.
Man,
Jags
no
are
noise. Back. I got belief in myself.
Before I'm gonna let Prop Beaver go when he gets the graphics up because he likes this one and I like it too. I'm with him. Could you put my yeah?
I'm not gonna double up on the spread.
It's every year this happens. The Jags look like shit. They go to London. They play 2 games in London. They come back. They look completely different. And every year everyone's shocked that it happened. So before you all go hammer the Packers, keep in mind this always happens. You shouldn't be shocked by this.
All right.
Go on.
Let's get into it. I know. It's gross. I hate it. I hate it so much that I absolutely love it. Those are the bets that I love the most, people. It sounds insane to take the Jags at only 3 and a hook, but I love this play. I mean, there's a reason it was 5.5 earlier in the week, and now it's 3.5 for everybody in the mother looking to fade this gross-ass team. The Jags live out of man coverage. And despite being one of the worst defenses in the league, well, guess what? Jordan Love has been one of the worst quarterbacks in the league against man coverage. 33rd in yards per attempt, 29th in passer rating. I mean, that's absolutely dreadful. And then on the ground, where does the Packers' rush success come from? Zone concepts. Well, guess what? The Jaguars are 4th in yards per carry and 2nd in success rate against zone concepts. On top of that, they get their defensive anchor back. We get Foyosade Aloakon, while Josh Jacobs, he's a guy who tends to struggle a lot more on the road in his career. He's under 58% of his last 30 road games to his rushing yard under. I think Kyle got confused when he said to give the Jags money line as well. My other bet is Josh Jacobs under rushing yards here.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, so I also have Jacobs under 63.5 rushing yards. So yeah, Josh Jacobs is under his rushing total in 58% of his last 30 road games compared to 41% of his last 30 home games as well. So he's a guy who struggles on the road as well. And with 20 or less rush attempts on the road, Jacobs is under his last 16 to 21 on the road. So guy really struggles on the road. And I think the Jags defense has some sneaky success here. On the other side, we've got a Jags offense that's really catching its groove. 2 of its best 3 offensive performances have come the last 3 weeks. And what is the trend? The Jags pass protection is rolling. They've allowed a 10% pressure rate the last 3 weeks. You want to know what the next closest is during that span? 19%. I mean, that is utterly elite. The 2 times they faced a bad pass rush during that span, Trevor Lawrence put up 69 points. The one time they faced a good one, that was the Bears, 16. Well, guess what? The Packers pass rush, they may have Rashawn Gary, but they have been bottom 10 in most ranks. And the rush defense, I feel, is overvalued as well. ETN may be out, but Tank Bigsby has been arguably one of the best running backs in the NFL to this point. And the fact that we got Peterson, who always performs better after coming back from London, the fact that the Jags are 6-1 against the spread versus the Packers in their franchise history, and the fact that the Packers have the Lions on deck next week, and I love this play for the for the Jaguars, going with Jacobs under 63.5 rush yards as well. Jags up, baby.
Yeah, completely agree. I think the Jags are winning this game. Like you said, Jordan Love, terrible numbers against man coverage. He's going to have time to throw, which is a little scary because the Jags don't have much of a pass rush, and the Packers' offensive line's been great in pass protection. But in terms of what the Jags do defensively, they run more man coverage than anyone in the NFL. They're first. No one runs more man coverage than the Jags, and Jordan Love's been terrible against man coverage. He's also been terrible against cover one. Another thing the Jags do a lot of. So it's not a good matchup for Jordan Love, although he's going to make plays. He's going to have time. Jordan Love in a clean pocket, he's going to make some plays. It's not going to get shut down. He also might throw a couple picks because he can't seem to stop doing that. Run game probably not going to be there for Green Bay. Jacksonville top 10, maybe even top 6 or 7 run defense in the NFL. So we're talking about Jordan Love against a coverage he's terrible against with no run support. Again, not saying that Packers offense is going to get shut down. Of course, they're going to score some points. But on the other side, Trevor Lawrence is cooking, man. In the last 3 weeks, he's averaging 8.9 yards per attempt, 59.3% success rate, over a 111 passer rating. Check this out. So in 2 of the last 3 games against the Pats and Colts, the Jags offensive line has allowed 2 combined pressures. I'm going to say that again. In 2 of the last 3 games, so Colts and Pats, Trevor Lawrence has a combined 55 dropbacks. He was pressured twice. This Jags offensive line out of nowhere is looking like one of the best pass protections in the NFL, and Trevor Lawrence is on a rampage right now against the Colts and Patriots, the 2 teams that don't have a pass rush. He went nuclear. Guess what? Green Bay doesn't have a pass rush. They're 18th in pressure rate, 24th in pass rush grade. So we're talking about another matchup where Trevor Lawrence against a non-pass rush is going to have all day to throw. And the Packers run zone coverage. He's much better against zone coverage. He's actually a top 10 quarterback in the NFL against zone coverage. They also run a lot of cover, too. Trevor Lawrence has great numbers against that. Packers run defense isn't anything spectacular. ETN and Tank Bigsby should be able to run the ball a little bit, too. So, although I'm sure Jordan Love will make some plays with a clean pocket, I think the Jags might score on every possession in this game. Jags win.
Esta, I need Jacobs, too, but we can't be biased in this industry.
Hey, Cal, sounds like you like Jacksonville team total over 22.5. I mean, that's
absolutely,
a dead number.
I also
right?
like that too.
For them to get to 24 in this game, you can get it at plus money. Makes a ton of sense. I didn't bet this one. Kind of stayed off of it, but I wanted to get there with Tank Bigsby over his longest rushing attempt at 15.5. Just because, like you guys said, it's a lot of success that can be had, I think, in this spot specifically. And I do think that Trevor Lawrence, like you mentioned, Kyle, probably plays a little bit better in this spot, which will open up the run game. But I didn't bet there. I think it was 15.5. That was on my short list. I stayed away from this one.
All right, next up.
Ooh.
Colts, Texans. I'll Dougie on this one. Colts up.
Yeah.
Took the point. This is not one of my biggest bets or anything, but I did bet this. I have the Colts and the money line. Wow. Hit me with the money line too. On what world are the Houston Texans laying more than 3 to anybody right now? The passing attack is broken. It looks terrible in the last 2 weeks. CJ Stroud looks awful. He looks lost out there throwing the ball. He's been terrible against zone coverage this year. Indianapolis runs nothing but zone coverage. Ever since Nico Collins got hurt, Houston has been relying on the run. Now, are they going to be able to run the ball in the Colts? Probably. They did in week 1, but a couple of things I want to say about that. Number one, when Grover Stewart was on the field last year, the Colts had a pretty decent run defense. And that's the thing with the Colts defense. They've been so hurt. So a lot of those guys are back. Hold on one sec. Buckner's back. Grover Stewart's on the field. EJ Speed, he was banged up. He's back. Kenny Moore is back at nickel. Jonathan Taylor's back as well. That's on the other side. So this Colts defense, so much healthier than they've been all year. And in that week 1 game where Houston was able to run the ball on Indianapolis, I mean, isn't there a little bit of caught off guard there? The Texans came out running the football in week 1 after what we saw last year. That part of that was the Colts being like, holy shit, like they're running the ball. Like no one was expecting that. No one was expecting Houston to come out in week 1 and run the football all game. So I think part of that might have been the Colts defense getting caught off guard. So you got the Colts defense coming in here healthier than they've been all year with Grover Stewart. And when they were healthy last year, they were a decent run defense. Now they know the book is out on Houston right now. The passing attack's broken. Just stop Joe Mixon, and you could really stifle this offense. I think the Colts defense is going to play well. But really, on the other side, I like the matchup for the Colts offense too. With Jonathan Taylor back, the Colts run. I mean, that Colts run game has been night and day different with Jonathan Taylor on the field versus off the field. He's missed the last 3 games. Jonathan Taylor in there. Also, Anthony Richardson. The Texans have been struggling with dual threat quarterbacks. Against dual threat quarterbacks this year, they're averaging 11.3 yards per carry allowed. Who was Anthony Richardson's best game against this year? Houston in the opener. And that Houston defense is a mess right now. They might be missing all 3 starting linebackers in this game. Jimmy Ward is out, the safety. Mario Edwards suspended on the defensive line. Missing 5 starters. That Texans defense is a mess right now. Look, this line should be 2.5 based on how the current state of these two teams. Line should be 2.5. So I got it at 5. I also got the Colts money line too. I think the Colts win this game.
Yeah, I'm on the same side here, and that says a lot because I am just about the biggest Colts hater in the world. I think this team stinks. I mean, watching that Dolphins game last week, I don't know if I could have been more infuriated. I mean, the Dolphins deserve to cover the entire game pretty much, but, you know, fumbles, quarterbacks dying on the field, the Colts just... They have a horseshoe up their ass. I saw somebody say, how could you bet this team? Anthony Richardson is so ass. My friend, go ahead and look at the mark next to Indiana plus 4.5. Indianapolis plus 4.5. It says 6-1 against the spread. This team continues to cover. I don't know if it's whether they have a horseshoe up their ass, like my friend Toast would say, or if it's them creating their own luck. The books just continue to keep mispricing them. And I agree with Kyle. I don't feel like the Texans in their current state are deserving of laying 4.5 points to, nevertheless, a division rival that always plays them tough at all. I mean, this is just flat out insane here. Kyle mentioned it. Colts run zone at 6th highest rate in the league. Shadow's been awful against zone thus far. 25th in completion percentage, 21st in yards per attempt, 23rd in passer rating. What has been the main weakness of this Colts defense thus far? They can't create pressure to save their goddamn lives. Well, Stroud can't exploit that thus far, as crazy as that sounds. Amongst quarterbacks who are kept clean thus far, 29th in yards per attempt, 21st in passer rating, 21st in turnover-worthy play rate. He's actually been a bottom 10 quarterback when kept clean thus far, as insane as that sounds. And if you're worried about Joe Mixon running all over the Colts, I mean, they already know what happened. That already happened week 1, and the Texans' rush offense is one that leans on zone concepts. The Colts rush defense goes from 20th in yards per carry allowed to gap concepts to 8th in yards per carry allowed to zone concepts. I feel like they're due for a much better performance defensively this time around. And just looking at the history, when the Colts go to Texans, they don't only cover, they win.
They win.
10-1-1 against the spread, 9-2-1 straight up in their last 12 trips to Houston. I know Anthony Richardson is quite bad, but he keeps covering. So I'm gonna keep riding.
Yeah, in case you didn't know, the Colts are the most profitable team in the NFL. They're 6-1 against the spread. They've covered 5 in a row. So the people in the comments that can't fathom how you could bet the Colts, have you been taking L's every week, fading them? Because they've covered 5 in a row now. Chris?
I agree with you guys. Just based off the injuries that you talked about, Kyle, that was the biggest thing for me. And then it's the Nico Collins for me too, which really takes the top off the defense here. So looking into it, Cal, and probably Beaver, CJ Stroud, I kind of lean under. CJ Stroud is 6-1 to the under as a home favorite. And when those people in the comments, Cal, that are talking about, wanting to fade the Colts, is because they don't think that they can score the football with Anthony Richardson being as the quarterback with his low completion percentage. So I understand it, which makes me lean towards the under. What I did bet in this game was Joe Mixon over on his longest rush attempt. The number is 16.5. You gave out some numbers, Cal, for some players coming back for the defense for this Indianapolis Colts team, but they have consistently given up a long run, and we know what he did in week 1 when he played them. 30 rushing attempts for 159 yards in that game. But last week Jalen Wright had a 19-yarder. 2 weeks ago was Tony Pollard, who had a 23-yarder. Tanks Bigsby, 35 yards in that game 3 weeks ago. Josh Jacobs in week 2, 34 yarders. So I do think that they get gashed at least once. And I do think that the Houston Texans are going to continue to rely on the running game. So I did bet Joe Mixon up and over his longest rushing attempt, over 16.5 here.
All right, next game.
I do love a longest rush play. Underrated market.
Super.
Yeah.
Oh, man. People in the comments are going to hate this one.
They've hated the play.
I don't know where we got all these square bettors and where they come from.
No, I love it, baby. It's going to be a good day.
Ravens, Browns. You know what? The Publix won the last 2 weeks. So that's when they get the loudest. And then they get silence. And then they need another public week. And then they'll get loud again.
I mean,
you took the points. You took the points, yeah?
I got the money line. But no, my main bet is the points. I just sprinkled the money. Yeah, this is terrible for Baltimore. Going on the road in a short week against the first defensive line that they're going to lose the battle against. I mean, this Ravens offensive line has definitely exceeded expectations by far. I mean, they lost so much production from last year, and a lot of people, including myself, I mean, most people were thinking we were going to see this huge drop-off in production from the Ravens offensive line, and we've seen a little bit. It hasn't been quite as good as last year, but this has still been a very good offensive line. Well, now they're going on the road. They're going to see the first defensive front. They're going to lose that battle. Cleveland probably has the best defensive front in the NFL. So on a short week, going on the road against this Cleveland defense with a chip on their shoulder, I don't like this matchup at all for the Ravens offensive line. They're going to get bullied. We're going to see Lamar Jackson put in a position where he needs to make throws with his arm against man coverage. He's not good at all against man coverage, whether that's on Lamar Jackson or whether he just doesn't have the weapons that can beat man coverage. I mean, that's dating back multiple years. He's not good against man coverage. Cleveland runs a ton of man coverage. So this Cleveland team is going to come in, take the run away, force Lamar Jackson to make throws against man coverage. I don't think he's going to do it. I think the Baltimore offense is going to struggle here. And on the other side, I mean, the biggest angle for the Browns is Deshaun Watson is no longer playing. And I know, how is that a positive angle? Well, he was record-breakingly unproductive at the quarterback position. We've never seen anything like it. I mean, it doesn't matter who you throw in there. Gardner Minshew, Jameis Winston, it doesn't matter who you throw in there. That's an increase in production for the quarterback position. But I mean, we were all saying that, like, the only reason he's still out there is because they paid him and it was almost punishment. Like, go out there. We're forcing you to play through this because he was truly that awful. We're going to see Jameis Winston out there. And granted, I don't think Jameis Winston's anything crazy, but he's got an arm. And this Ravens secondary sucks. They're one of the worst secondaries in the league this year. I don't know why. Kyle Hamilton's the man. Marcus Williams. I don't know why they're so bad, but they're awful. They're getting routinely cooked. And how many corners are the Ravens missing today? 3?
It might be 4. I mean, I know they're missing Tampa, Humphrey, and Nate Wiggins. So their top 2 corners.
Their top 2 corners are out. But also, TJ Tampa's out. That's another one of their corners. Trayvon Mullen's out. Christian Matthews out. They're missing 5 corners. The Ravens are missing 5 corners in this game. Their corners are cooked. They have nobody out there. This is a secondary that's been getting cooked healthy. Now they're missing 5 corners. Not to mention, the Ravens don't generate consistent pressure via the pass rush. So say what you want about Jameis Winston. He's probably going to have a lot of time to throw in the pocket against a secondary that can't seem to cover anybody. I think Jameis Winston might throw the ball on this Ravens defense. I actually think he might have a big game. I think the Browns do have an outside chance to win. Wouldn't be surprised if Chubb's able to get it going, even though the Ravens have been excellent against the run. Won't criticize the Ravens' run defense. They've been great. But I wouldn't be surprised if Chubb's able to make some plays. He's run on Baltimore before. It's not like it'd be crazy if Nick Chubb runs the ball in Baltimore. We've seen him do it all the time. So I like Jameis Winston to make some throws. I think both offenses are probably going to struggle, but plus 8.5 at home on a short week with the better defensive front. Yeah, it's time. It's time to get in on this Browns team.
Yeah, so for this one, my favorite play in this game is I went with Justice Hill under 16.5 receiving yards. I really, really like this one as a sell high. Coming off that 44-yard performance against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That was against a defense that lives out of zone and 2 high shells. That's where Hill has thrived thus far. This is a polar opposite performance against a Browns defense that's top 3 in single high and man coverage shells, where Hill's production is just completely fallen off a cliff. Against single high, 7.1 target share, 1.52 yards per route run, 0.15 targets per route run. That is literally half of his production against double high. And then against man coverage this year, just a 4.8 target share, 1.08 yards per route run. That is 1/3 of his production against zone coverage. On top of that, Browns have allowed the 6th fewest yards per game, 4th fewest targets to the running back position. And we've seen his receiving role even decrease a bit. He's just averaging 2 targets his last 3 games. His receptions line is juiced to -180 for the under at 2.5, and that's pretty telling because with 2 or less receptions headed back to 2022, he is 28-1 to the under. So, wow. Averaging just 4.6 yards per game. Really like that under today. And then the other one that I actually added this right before the show, is I needed me some Jameis action today. Simply couldn't go this game without betting on my boy, the man, the myth, the legend. Jameis Winston over... Oh, did Andy get to add this one in time? I guess we'll see. Jameis Winston over 231.5 passing yards. I got that on Bet365. I would personally play that up to 240.5. Just a pure play on quarterbacks against this Ravens pass defense. And then I think it's even better in the situation that you have no Nate Wiggins and no Marlon Humphrey. Winston's 4-1 to the over as a starter since 2021 with 30-plus pass attempts, averaging 272 yards per game. That was on a Saints offense that really didn't want him passing the ball. He was only averaging, I believe, around 27 attempts per game. His attempts line in this game at 35. And if you look at the quarterbacks to face the Ravens thus far, 67 quarterbacks have gone over their mark. And I just want to go ahead and make sure real quick. But if you're looking at the pass yards per game allowed by the Ravens on the road thus far, they are allowing an unholy 342 pass yards per game on the road. That is the most in the NFL. So got to go with Jameis Winston in the spot, even with an absolute scrub like Jerry Jeudy on the outside.
Jay Carter in the comments said Browns money line, Jags money line, Colts money line, and a plus 3,000. Nah, dude, don't do that. The thing with these money lines, the whole point is you only have to hit 1 or 2 to be profitable. So you need to break that way of thinking of like, we're sweeping the board today. Thinking like that is how you lose money. You need to come into this thinking there's good value on plus 350. If you take the Browns plus 350, the Colts at plus whatever. I also like the Jags at plus whatever. Like if you take 4 of those dogs, you go 2-2. It's a profit. And meanwhile, you're playing the favorites. You go 2-2. Obviously, you're losing money.
I just want to add something real quick. Another reason why I like the Winston play, and I couldn't get to the Browns as one of the 85 dogs I like today. I don't think that Chubb's going to establish a run at all today. I know he's run on them in the past. That dude's coming off that knee injury. He looked like dog shit last week. Deonta Foreman behind him has Deonta Foreman behind him has also looked like dog shit this year. And the Ravens rush defense is elite. He's going to have to pass the ball here. I don't think the Browns are going to do anything on the ground.
Tinker, nobody cares, bro. Chris, what do you think? Tinker's still talking about Indiana. See, I got to mute Tinker. Oh, he just wants to talk about no one cares about Indiana football, bro. No one cares. Chris?
I'm agreeing with you guys. This is one I actually did bet too. I took the +8. I think it's a +8 still out there on DraftKings. It's for the simple fact that you get, in my opinion, you get Lamar in this with this big point range, right? He's 13, 18, and 1 against the spread as a favorite of a touchdown or more this in his career. And then on top of that, good old Jameis, like you said, I'm gonna add that probably, but I am gonna play his passing yards. This is something I just hadn't thought about. We know Baltimore has been the best run defense, but they really struggle against the pass. And to your point, Kyle, you said their secondary sucks. It's because they're not getting the pressure, like you talked about. You just didn't put it together, but like they didn't get no pressure on the quarterback, that don't make any secondary suck if you got to cover for 3 or 4 seconds longer. Jameis Winston as a dog of 7 points or more, 8-4-1 against the spread in his career. Shout out Jameis. So yeah, I'll be on Baltimore. I'll be on Cleveland plus the 8 here. I also like the under because in those games where like Jameis is, do we know a better like rallier of men in the United, like in the world? Like Jameis Winston, he gonna have the offense locked in, he got a defense locked in. We'll probably see some kind of speech, circulating amongst social media at the beginning of the game about when he was a child and he was in the bathtub playing football or something. Like, this is something crazy. Here's my point: 11-2 to the under as a dog of 7 points or more to go with that 8-4-1 against the spread is Jameis Winston as a dog of 7 or more. So I like the under. It sounds like first half under would also be a play in this game, but strongest play would be plus the 8, and I did bet that one.
Yeah, and the Ravens, like he said, aren't generating consistent pressure. And the Browns' offensive line, almost everyone's back. I mean, they activated, what's his name, Teller?
They did activate Teller.
He hasn't played in a month.
And Pochich is back as well.
Jack Conklin finally healthy at right tackle. That's their best offensive lineman. Ethan Pochich, the center, he's back. So this Browns offensive line's been hurt all year. They're back. Wills is still out. So they're still missing one.
Honestly,
but the other four
bro,
are back.
the way that Wills has been fucking playing.
Yeah, and they have DeJuan Jones, who's probably better than Wills at left or the other tackle.
Wills has been horrible.
All right, Eagles, Bengals. I took the under in this one. I think the Bengals win. And if I'm playing a side, I wanted to take the -2.5. But I took the under. I got it at 48. All right, so based on what we've seen the last few weeks from these teams, they're actually kind of similar in a sense that both quarterbacks really struggling to handle pressure. I mean, we'll start with Cincinnati. Joe Burrow. Rewind back 3 weeks, right? There was a 3-week stretch there. The Bengals were averaging 35 points a game. Remember the Ravens game went to overtime. It was one of the best games of the year. Joe Burrow threw like 1 billion touchdowns in that game. And during that stretch, there was 3 games. The Bengals were averaging 35 points in the game. And it was looking hands down. Cincinnati's the best passing attack in the NFL. They were blowing, every single game. They were going out. Joe Burrow was throwing 1 million yards. But then we see the last 2 games against Cleveland and the New York Giants. All of a sudden, Joe Burrow doesn't look right. And all of a sudden, his wrist injury. Oh, I can't feel the ball. Isn't it convenient how he can't feel the ball when he doesn't play well? And then it's fine when I hate that. Anyway, so we see the last 2 games against the Giants and Browns. Joe Burrow doesn't play as well. Why? Because the Giants and Browns are both in the top 5 of the NFL in pressure. These are 2 of the best pass rushers in the NFL. So we're seeing a pattern develop here. Joe Burrow, when he's given a clean pocket, cooks. Joe Burrow, when he plays a defense that can pressure the passer, not so much. Well, I'll have you know that the Philadelphia Eagles actually third in pressure rate over the last, was it 3 weeks, Prop Beaver? Eagles pressure rate last 3 weeks, they're third?
Yes.
So,
third or second.
So the Eagles have been generating more pressure than almost anyone in the NFL recently. That Eagles pass rush is heating up. So I think we're going to see a third game where Joe Burrow is under duress and struggling. The Bengals have been playing these super low-scoring games. I think we're going to see another one. And then on the other side, copy and paste what I just said. Jalen Hurts, when given a clean pocket, has been great. He's been terrible under pressure. He's been one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL under pressure this year. Well, the Eagles' offensive line is in shambles right now. They're still missing the left tackle. What's his name, the right guard out as well?
Yes, Mekhi Becton.
Mekhi Becton is out too. For the Eagles, they're missing 2 starters. And check this out. Jalen Hurts was pressured on over 52% of his dropbacks against the Giants. They won that game comfortably. He was pressured on over 52% of his dropbacks. He only dropped back to pass 21 times. He was sacked 4 times. So this Eagles offensive line, in terms of pass protection, is not okay. So even though the Bengals pass rush not anything special, Hendrickson, they got I think Jalen Hurts is going to be under pressure simply because that Eagles pass protection is a mess right now. So where does that leave us? It leads us to both teams running the football and chewing clock because they can't protect their quarterbacks. I know these 2 teams, people would expect a shootout. I think we're going to see a lot of running the ball, a lot of settling for 3, and a lot of drive-ending sacks. So I went under. Put a gun to my head. I do think the Bengals win, but I like the under. I did bet this.
Okay. I have 2 props in this game. I know the most popular one I see. I feel like everybody's on this. Not shitting on it. I hope that we could both cash here. Everybody and their mother's on Devonta Smith after he got, -2 yards last week. I feel like everybody's overthinking this one. Play the classics, people. This man, A.J. Brown, is on a different planet right now. I'm going with A.J. Brown. I got him at over 73.5 earlier in the week. That's gone, so I'm just putting the ladder up at this point. I think it's at 79.5 on DraftKings, so that is really gone. I'm just playing A.J. Brown over receiving yards. I would play the 90+ at the highest plus odds you would get it. I would play the 100+ at the highest plus odds you would get it. I basically did it as this: 1 unit on the regular line, 0.6 on the 90+, and then 0.4 units on the 100+. I put 2 units on A.J. Brown today. I really love the spot for him. This guy's been unreal thus far. Under the tutelage of Kellen Moore, he smashed the line in all 3 games, averaging 108 yards per game, 5.3 receptions per game, and now we have a system I can't get enough of. Taking wide receiver 1s against the Bengals. See, Last week, I took Jerry Jeudy's over against Cincy, and that was my fault because I knew he was a sorry-ass receiver, and I chose to believe in him for some reason because Kyle did. And then the coach confirmed my knowledge because Cedric Tillman's first read target share was 31%, double that of Jerry Jeudy's. So Jerry Jeudy is a sorry-ass receiver, and Cedric Tillman was actually the wide receiver one. Cedric Tillman, the intended wide receiver one, had 8 receptions for 81 yards. You know what that means? 6 straight wide receiver ones have cleared their lines against the Bengals. So the system is still in play. And that means that A.J. Brown is in for a very savory matchup here. The Bengals run single high coverage at a top 10 rate. A.J. Brown against single high amongst 138 receivers thus far, first in air yard share, first in yards per out run, second and first yard target read, and first and first downs per out run. This dude has been the best wide receiver in the NFL against single high coverage. And on top of that, they also run cover 3 at a top 10 rate. Amongst 166 wide receivers against cover 3, first in air yard share, first and first read target share, first and first downs out run. This is the perfect matchup for the guy. And if we're just looking at where the books are setting him, 5.5 receptions is as high as -137 on Caesars. With 6+ receptions, Brown has cashed this line in 21 of his last 22 games. I think this is the perfect spot for him. My second play in this game, because you people cannot escape without.
Whoa, what do you mean, you people? Yo, why are you trashing Jerry Jeudy, by the way?
Jerry Jeudy's ass, bro. I'm just so pissed at him after last week. I'm just like, because you know what it is? When I bet on players who I don't like, who I think are bad, and then they cost me money, it really leaves a sour taste in my mouth. The dude's so trash.
If you watched him at Alabama, you wouldn't say he's trash. That's all I'm saying.
Andy doesn't understand what 0.25 is. Hendrickson, over 0.25 sacks. If you could get the 0.25, make sure instead of the 0.5. Hendrickson over 0.25 sacks. I love this play as well. This is basically for Hendrickson to record a sack here. Last week was the Eagles' first week without Jordan Mailata since he was placed on the IR. And, dude, the Eagles' O-line was an atrocity last week. 52% of Hurts' 21 dropbacks he was pressured on. He was sacked 4 times. In fact, Hurts has now been sacked 15 times his last 4 games. Now we're going to face a Cincy offense that's more than capable of exploiting this Philly defense that just beat up on Deshaun Watson and Danny Jones. And if we're going to see an increase in dropbacks, that would only see an increase in pressure and sack opportunities. We now got Trey Hendrickson, who in my humble opinion should be getting the same respect in terms of sack prices as TJ Watt. TJ Watt's sack price is at -260. We got Trey Hendrickson, who's at -120 in this bowl game. That's just absolutely ridiculous. TJ Watt was first in sacks last year. Hendrickson was third. I mean, to be getting a whole to be getting this massive of a price difference is just flat out insane here. And we're getting this as one of the shortest odds on the slate. So he's coming off back-to-back 2-sack performances, and he tends to be a little bit less profitable to back at home. But guess what? He's a wagon against the NFC. Over his last 7 to 8 against the NFC overall, over his last 8 and 9 against the NFC at home, I'm locking him in.
I mean, comparing Hendrickson to TJ Watt's a little wild, but I do get
in terms of the sack numbers.
I do get your.
I'm just talking about in terms of the pricing.
In terms of the price difference, I get it. It may make sense.
If we're talking about in terms of a hit rate, that is ridiculous.
Yeah, this will be the game that I have on the big screen outside of like Red Zone on the other one. I just kind of want to watch. Like me as a Commanders fan, of course, I'm rooting for Cincinnati here. I'm not betting it. I'm not betting the game. Kyle, I really wanted to get there with the under, like you. 8-4 to the under is Jalen Hurts as a road dog, including 5 straight unders in his career. We can expect Philly's offense to struggle, I think, a little bit. But here's the problem that I had here, Kyle. Burrow is 10-5 to the over as a home favorite versus a team with a winning record, and both of these teams are coming off. Both of them are coming up. Both of them have played the same 2 opponents. I know you guys probably saw that.
I did.
Like
yeah.
they both played against the Giants and they both played against the Browns. So those are not good offenses, Kyle. Like those offenses stink. And I think those teams had to rely on their defenses. I think we could potentially see a little bit of a shootout here, even though, like you said, the pressure numbers would more probably incline for under. So yeah, I just kind of stayed off of it. I'm not just going to talk in a circle. I stayed off of it. I'll watch this one.
All right, let's move on to the next game, which is Bills Seahawks. I really don't know.
This is a crazy line, in my opinion.
I mean, how do you not take the Bills at -3? What is going on with this? I mean, I could see like a +6.5. Like, okay, like let's talk about the Seahawks at +6.5. At an even 3, how do you not take the Bills? I don't know what I'm I didn't bet this game. I'm kind of just open. I'm going to read some comments. Am I missing something? DK Metcalf's out, but I mean, I still trust Geno Smith is one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL throwing against cover 2. The Bills run cover 2. There's something. I just in what planet are the Seahawks making stops here? I don't get it. I don't understand the line. I didn't understand it from the beginning. And I kind of like the Seahawks team. I've been big on them this year. So I just, how is this not at least 4? I guess maybe Seahawks played a good game in Atlanta and now we're thinking like, we were right about the Seahawks initially. Let's just forget about the last 3 weeks we saw before this and where they looked like the worst defense to ever step on the field.
Is that what you think the price is? Because that's the only way I can rationalize this
Me
price.
too. I don't get it.
I think the Bills should be minus 4.5 here at the very least. No?
Yep. I said the same thing. I said, why is it not at least 4? That's so.
I don't understand this
So
price.
you have a play.
Why
Why don't you take it? I'll
no. So this is a lean, honestly. Like I didn't get to give this game the full look I wanted to. I did earlier in the week, and then I just never got back to it. This is what I would lean. Running backs have been killing their rushing plus receiving against the Bills. Last week we took Tony Pollard, and I don't know if you guys tailed with me. But oh my God, that was excruciatingly painful. We had, listen to this. We had 65 rushing plus receiving yards with Tony Pollard at half. We finished with 65 rushing plus receiving yards at the end of the game. How the fuck does that happen? I don't know. God bless America. But that's what Tony Pollard did in a game where we led at half. So it's just incredible. The Bills, before that Tony Pollard game, had, I think, allowed every single running back to cash their rushing plus receiving over. They play a lot of too high, so that leads to a lot of dump-offs to the running back. And Kenneth Walker's receiving role this year has grown phenomenally. It's just I didn't really get to cap the game how I wanted to. So I don't know. Also, if it's a blowout, I don't know if Walker's going to get the rushing attempts I want to. So yeah. I mean, it's just a lean. Just a lean.
I could see the Seahawks coming out looking to run the ball. I mean, I could see that. But
that's the only way they're going to win this game. I'll tell you that.
Well, clearly somebody thinks they have a good chance to putting this line at 3.
Yeah.
Chris, anything for this one?
I like Josh Allen to score a touchdown because, like you said, you guys said this line doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Kyle, I think you mentioned it at the beginning, but this Seattle Seahawks run defense has not been that great. I know they used, like you said, they coming off a really good week. I was on them last week plus the 4 against, I think it was plus 4 in Atlanta last week. Not liking them as much in this spot, but didn't play the spread like you said.
Oh shit, we should play the touchdown scorer song.
The touchdown score.
Yeah, play
it's plus 165.
Anytime, touching it down, scoring and running around. It's the anytime, touchdown, scoring. Anytime you need touchdown. Yeah.
All right, our first touchdown scorer of the day, and it's Josh Allen.
There we go.
All right,
Josh Allen plus 165. Dude has 3 rushing touchdowns. You already talked about the Seahawks defense. You know, kind of giving up the rushing yards in general. So yeah, I think he finds his way, like a little tush push or something close down to the end zone. Seattle defense is not great against the run, so Josh Allen finds the end zone today. Plus 165. I love it plus money. Didn't play like super heavy, but yeah, I'll go Josh Allen here.
Plus 165. Has he stopped scoring touchdowns lately? What the hell is that about?
Yeah, that's why I liked it, because I thought it was a little bad.
Nothing makes sense about this game.
What the fuck is going on, bro?
Josh Allen plus 900 to score a touchdown.
All right.
All right, let's go on to the next game.
Yeah, wow. All
right. Next. Bonnie X Clyde, what's up, man? You like the touchdown scores. There you go, Prop Beavers. That's a musician right there, likes your musical prowess.
There we go, Bon. I mean, we could collab sometime, trust me.
All right. Saints, Chargers. I think the Chargers are going to win and cover this. You guys already know the bet I have, the Jets, Chargers, square ass parlay. I think the Jets might screw me, honestly. But in all seriousness, and I know that I've had my feud with Saints fans, but coming from a place of objectivity, and hopefully Saints fans, hopefully you've taken your medication and you're balanced. You have the worst run defense in the NFL, and I'm not trying to take shots at you. I'm hoping you'll be like, yeah, we do. Because you should, if you're looking at it objectively. That run defense is trash. What does Jim Harbaugh and this Chargers offense want to do? They want to hand the ball off 40 times. I don't see how the Saints defense gets off the field here. I know Prop Beaver's about to tell you he likes the matchup for Spencer Rattler, by the way, so we can listen to the nonsense he's about to spew. But personally, the bet I have, you could put my can you put my parlay graphic up, please?
Oh, well, yes, I can.
So that's the bet I actually have, the Chargers money line, Jets money line parlay. If I could go back to last night, replace the bets, probably would just lay the 7 if I'm being honest. But yeah, I like the Chargers to stay on the field for 6, 7, 8 minutes at a time, like we saw in the Cardinals game. And that's another part of this. I watched that Cardinals-Chargers game on Monday night. The Chargers were so definitively the better team in that game. And I sat there with a Cardinals ticket like the whole time. Like, I deserve to lose. I'm going to lose this game. I'm on the wrong side. The fact that they lost that game was a travesty. So this with a little bit of maybe a little bit of a buy low on the Chargers, and it's still all the way up at 7, which confirms my suspicion that I'm seeing this game at least somewhat appropriately. I like the Chargers offense to stay on the field 6, 7, 8 minutes at a time, and then Spencer Rattler to come in, try to make throws from down. He should be down on the scoreboard. I will say, Chargers pass rush hasn't been all that great. Who knows what kind of condition Joey Bosa's in? So maybe what I'm assuming what Prop Beaver's about to give to you here is Spencer Rattler with time, I guess. Am I close on that?
No. You had thought that I was going to give out the Saints +7 on this show.
No, you like Spencer Rattler though.
No. I like J.K. Dobbins over 74.5 rush yards. I was on the treadmill.
Talk about it, probably. I like it too.
I was on the treadmill this morning. I had an epiphany. I was watching my friend. Actually, I don't know if we've actually ever spoken before, but I've spoken to Logan from Calling Our Shot. I was watching Austin's video from Calling Our Shot, his prop video, and I guess I'm tailing him here. He played Dobbins over 74.5 rush yards, and I'm sitting here thinking, what the fuck am I not doing playing Dobbins over 74.5 rush yards? I'm trying to be sharp here, playing this rat-ass quarterback, Spencer Rattler, with the +7. I think that Dobbins over 74.5 rush yards is just the play here. I think this is the perfect bounce back spot. This Saints rush D has reached rock bottom, people. 31st in yards per carry, 32nd in success rate, 31st in EPA, 31st in DVOA. I mean, since week 3, the Saints rush D is allowing 182 yards per game, 6.4 yards per carry, 51.2 success rate, and 0.2 EPA per rush. During that span, 4 or 5 opponents had a running back clear this mark, with the lead back averaging 106 yards per game on 16 attempts per game. I mean, that is 6.66 yards per carry. Devilishly good. And I know Dobbins' efficiency has fallen off a cliff after the electric first 2 games. I mean, weeks 1 and 2, 133 yards per game, 9.9 yards per carry. His last 4 games, 53 yards per game, 3.1 yards per carry. Literally 1/3 is good. But the guy during that span faced 3 top 5 rush defenses, and then the last defense he faced was a Cardinals defense that is kind of like Belichick-esque. They sell out to stop your best weapon. Well, look at the Cardinals offense. The Chargers offense. It's a steaming pile of shit besides J.K. Dobbins. So what do? They loaded the box. They sold out with 0 receiving weapons on the outside, and J.K. Dobbins didn't really do anything. The Saints are so ass that I think that could happen. And J.K. Dobbins could still rush for 75 and 100 plus here. So I played the 100 plus because of the 3 or 4 running backs to hit 75 versus New Orleans, also hit 100 plus. And I also noticed that every time Dobbins has gone over this number, he's cleared 95 plus yards. So for 270 plus, for plus 270 odds, I thought that was worth a sprinkle. I'm going with Dobbins.
Chris?
Yeah, just to follow that up, probably another player prop longest rush yards, and that's J.K. You going for the full game? I'm thinking just get it over in the first quarter. Give me a 17.
They're very correlated,
run.
Chris.
Yeah, give me a 17-yard run for everything that you mentioned, Prop Beaver, in this game. 15 and a half. I'm sorry. ESPN bet -110 for J.K. Dobbins, and this, like you said, I mean, both of you guys kind of laid it out. Kyle talked about it at the beginning, but rush EPA, rushing yards per game. I mean, it really doesn't matter how you want to slice it here. This is just a poor run defense. I also, like Kyle, I agree with you. You should probably just lay the 7. I think this is probably a 27-17 game. Outside of that, the Chargers, 13.8 points per game so far. First in the NFL. Like, this is a really good team, just slowing opponents down. So those are the teams you want to lay the points with. So J.K. Dobbins up and over 15.5 on his longest rush attempt, because I do think that they're going to have those long sustained drives that Kyle mentioned. And I will lay the points here, minus the 7.
What Kyle thought I was going to say is the fact that Spencer Rattler finally will have a pass rush that's not going to blitz his tits off every.
Because that's what you said. I didn't make it up. You said that last night.
I did say that. I was trying to stick up for the guy. I mean, I feel a little bad for him. The poor guy has the worst O-line in South Carolina.
This isn't feelings hour, man.
I mean, he was a dick on that show, I will say. So I guess I don't feel that bad for him. What was it, QB1 or whatever?
Bears, Washington. And you know what? For this one, shout out to everyone that was still up in the Discord at 1:45. We sniped it. So if you were still awake, Prop even sent me Schefter's tweet at like, what time was that? Like 1:30 in the morning?
Yeah, you're welcome.
You live bet Washington immediately?
I got plus 135 last night immediately and sent in the Discord, and we all jumped on it. Well, obviously you cannot get plus 135 with Washington anymore. So the late night crew got it. It's now at minus 115, minus 120. If Jaden Daniels is healthy, Washington should win this game. So you can just put Washington up for me. But if I'm being honest, this was originally a pass for me. The only reason I bet it was because Schefter's tweet, and I thought like, hey, I should grab it because I think the line's going to move. And it turned out to be right. So I'm holding a Washington money line at plus 135. But like now that that's that minus 115 and they're short-term favorites, this is a pass.
I got absolutely nada for this game. I think that both of these teams kind of like, they've honestly shown a lot of promise, obviously, but I feel like both of them kind of beat up on the week thus far. So it's time to for them to square off against each other, see who's legit. I think it's more of an entertaining game than one with some betting value, and yeah, should be fun. But I don't have a bet on this one.
Yeah, Cal, similarly to the Lakers, which I don't typically tend to get invested on. You guys know that I'm a diehard Commander fan. I don't really get too involved in our action either. I think Jaden Daniels, I'm not sure how efficient he's going to be with that rib injury. Of course, you need your ribs and all those inner, I guess, middle part of your body to throw the ball deep down the field. But this Commanders offense has looked really, really good. I'm not telling anybody anything new. Caleb Williams has also looked really, really good. More so, I think he's been more impressive, in my opinion, as far as the bar that I had for him, because I didn't expect Caleb Williams to do as much, especially at the beginning of the season. So I'll sit on the sidelines in this one as well. It's really I wanted to get there with the Commanders and actually play them because I haven't been making money just talking about, as a fan, but I'll stay on the sidelines in this one too. I don't play it.
Last night when we first bet this, we were talking and I said, I'm down. If this line continues moving, we get closer to kickoff, like about 4 hours from now. If there's a Bears plus 10, plus 115, I might just grab it and guarantee myself some profit. I mean, I'm holding plus 135 on one side. I get a plus 115, score it. I'll take the free money. I don't even like the game. I'll take a free few dollars. Why not?
Yeah.
So that's I'm trying to get a Bears plus 115. Call it a day. Next.
We got the best game on the slate coming up, folks. Broncos, Panthers, Super Bowl rematch.
That was a hell of a prelude here. This game sucks.
I know.
You know what this line says to me? It speaks to me, this line. This line speaks to me. Please, God, please, we need Panthers money. Please, for the love of Christ.
Please. Spare
11
Panthers, please.
From Bo Nix? What? Yeah, there's no chance on God's green earth I'm going to place my money on this game. What? 11. I don't know what sounds more absurd right now, betting on the Carolina Panthers or laying double-digit points with Bo Nix. Some of you who aren't college football fans, you might be new to this Bo Nix culture. For those of us that watch college football, you don't lay 11 points with them, man. Just don't do it. Go to your YouTube after this show is over. Type in Bo Nix Auburn highlights, and then I want you to watch them thinking about laying 11 points. No. Pass. No shot. Next. What do you guys want to say?
Yeah, so in this one, Chris, I don't think has anything. In this one, I mean, I'll type it up, but I don't think we're going to get a line here. It's basically a tackle and assist prop. If these cowards dare release an Xavier Woods prop, I'll bet it.
So you're implying that the sportsbooks are scared to release the Xavier Woods
and I'll tell you
prop
why.
to you.
The Broncos it's not that they're scared of me. It's they're scared of the world. They're scared of what the Denver Broncos
No
are about
one's
to
looking
do.
at the Xavier Woods prop, bro, but you're the only
Yes,
one.
yes, they are. Everybody's fucking looking at Xavier Woods propo because Xavier Woods has been a fucking monster. I think he's had like 7+ tackles in 4 straight games. I mean, guy's been putting on. He puts on for his city. And the fact is that the Broncos are going to possess the ball for 95 minutes today. There's only 60 minutes in a football game. And because of that, the Panthers are going to be on the field the entire time. Xavier Woods might have 55 tackles today. The Broncos allow, I think, the 3rd most tackles per game to the safety position. I don't know if we're going to get a line. If we do get a line, I like his over. Point is, I don't know if we're going to get one. Why? They don't release them when they're scared. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
They're according to prop people, the odds makers are terrified to release the Xavier Woods line.
Listen, when you got a dog like Xavier Woods, you don't release lines in these scenarios.
He used to be a Cowboy, bro. He's not that good. All right. Chris, do you have anything to say about this game?
Javonte Williams. It's just, I don't know if we just talked about the Saints defense being bad against the run. Carolina might be giving them a run for their money here. 162 yards per game on the ground, 4.7 yards per pop. That's 24th. Rushing attempts per game. They're giving up the 2nd most at 34 per game. So I think I bet his anytime touchdown just because I expected it to be like -130 and I caught it at +100, I think it was, okay. -110. Like I think they've given up at least one rushing touchdown in every single game, but one. And they've given up double rushing touchdowns in every single in like 3 or 4 games this year as well. So that's the one bet that I did place in this game. Javonte Williams anytime touchdown.
Someone said,
what'd you say the odds were?
Plus 100.
Oh, plus 100. Okay.
Someone said, I personally didn't place a bet. I personally haven't commented today. Just waiting to see if Prop Beaver was on the Xavier Woods prop. All right, next up. Another touchdown. Okay, so
he knows a dog.
Javonte Williams. Got it. Next. Chiefs Raiders. I want to lay it. I didn't.
Got a player
Me too.
number.
I want to lay the 9. I didn't bet this one just because, I mean, historically, this is not a profitable bet to make. You lay the big number with the division rival. Historically, this is a bad bet to make. Obviously, there are individual instances, but historically, you lay more than a touchdown in a division game, especially with the road team, you lose money. That being said, this Raiders team, when's the last time Gardner Minshew played a good football game? Like week 2 against the Ravens? That was the last time, I think.
I think Stonewall Jackson was still in
He's been
operation.
getting progressively worse every game. We all like him. Like, oh, that guy's cool. Mic him up. Look, he says weird things. Yo, he sucks. He's been getting progressively worse as the season has gone along. And I didn't bet this one because I can't tell if I'm being objective. You know, I'm still so pissed off at the Raiders for that Steelers game. And I know that Aiden O'Connell played quarterback in that game, but I'm so pissed about that game that I don't know. I don't know if I could look at the Raiders games through an objective lens right now. But also though, I like the way the Chiefs have been playing this year. I feel like it's a little bit different that we've seen in years past because Mahomes isn't really playing that well, but the rest of the Chiefs seem to be really motivated. I like the defense. Yeah, you could put Chiefs -9 up for me because that's like my pick for the game, but I didn't actually bet this.
Yeah. So in this one, I'm really not a guy who does narrative plays. That's not me. But I'm narrative.
You going back to the off-season?
Yeah, I'm going back to the off-season. I'm narrative McGee today. The Raiders, man, why? Why open your mouths?
The Kermit the Frog thing.
Such a pissed team, such a dirty organization, and they had to open their mouths and talk about my boy, Patrick Mahomes. Not my boy, actually.
He's your boy?
No, such a cornball. But anyways, we got Patrick Mahomes, a guy who's shaping up to be one of the great quarterbacks of all time, struggling mightily in the box score. We've got 6 TDs and 8 interceptions through 7 weeks and 6 games of a season. This Patrick Mahomes here. faces a Raiders team that recorded a video of a Kermit puppet dressed up in a Chiefs jersey with curly hair and all like him and posted it online during camp. On top of that, Antonio Pierce also literally said that he wanted the Raiders to have special Mahomes rules for the Chiefs this season, for Chiefs games this season, like the Bad Boys Pistons did for Jordan, referencing him showing the guys a video of Jordan getting his ass whooped. Let's not forget the last time these two teams faced off, the Raiders, under the tutelage of Pierce, came into KC and beat the Chiefs straight up on Christmas Day, holding KC to just 14 points and Mahomes 1 TD. Mahomes responded to all this offseason by this JV squad by saying he will handle it when the time comes. The time is now, and the Chiefs are the only pass offense this month, October, to not throw a pass TD. He has just 1 pass TD in his last 3 games. And the Raiders, miraculously, despite being one of the biggest piles of shit I've ever seen on a football field, they haven't allowed a pass TD in 2 straight games, neither to Matthew Stafford or Justin Fields. I just think that we're going to see the perfect force of regression here that results in a nuclear effort from Mahomes. And Mahomes has done just that versus Vegas in the division. He's averaging 2.5 TDs against the Raiders, going over 9-12 career matchups, and he's been even better at Vegas. He's averaging 3 TDs at Vegas compared to just 2 at home. In fact, I'm going to throw a quarter unit on 3+ pass TDs because I expect him to exercise some demons here. He hasn't done that in 19 straight games, but I think this is the time.
I agree. I think they're going to. I mean, before that game that you referenced on Christmas Day, I believe the last 3 times they played the Raiders, they won by 14 plus. And I'm sure, I don't remember offhand, but I'm sure if you go back on YouTube, you can find me being like, guys, Raiders +10, and like taking a loss on that shit. Man, no. Chiefs are pass for me.
Same. 8 of the last 9 games, Mahomes has scored 30 or more points versus the Raiders dating back to 2019. Yeah. So maybe it's just a team total over. You can get it at 24.5 if you guys are interested. Overs are 6-3 in the last 9 Raider games. That's just because their defense really hasn't played that well, of course. And then Cal, here you go, Cal. Here's the breakdown for them actually covering the spread, and all this aligns with the team total as well. So Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback as a favorite in the division since he's been there. Only 17-16 against the number, but they win by 10 points, 29-19, right? Outside of that, then you get into Patrick Mahomes as a favorite of 7 points or more in divisional games. And in those games, they're also averaging 30 points, and they're winning by 10 points, 29-19. Against the Raiders specifically, he's 6-5 against the number, but he's winning by average of 14, 33-19. And I would say that some of those Raider teams that he's played in the past, back in 2018-19, are better than this version of the Raiders as currently constructed. So I wouldn't mind laying the points here. That's the only way that I'm looking. But I also think that the Chiefs, this will be the game, like you said, probably, that Patrick Mahomes will actually start to play football, and they'll put it together both sides. It'll probably be a big win. They potentially probably score 30, 35 points today. So team total at 24.5 is very appealing, and something that I'm probably going to add here late.
Yeah, I'm much more inclined to back Mahomes away from KC for some weird reason in these spots rather than him at home.
Speaking of backing quarterbacks away from home, let's talk about Brock Purdy, a.k.a. the worst home quarterback in the NFL. What is that?
It has been tough.
In case you're not a splits guy, and I'm not saying you should be if you're not, they're interesting to look at. You can win bets with them sometimes. Sometimes they'll lead you astray. So I'm not saying you should be a splits guy. But these this year for Brock Purdy are so extreme. Ready for this? In Brock Purdy's 4 home games, 4, he's got 2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. 2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions at home. What? And by the way, he's played the Cardinals, the Patriots, also the Chiefs, which are good defense, and the Jets, we know have a good defense. So 2 good defense and 2 bad defenses. He's got 2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions at home. Cowboys are winning. Put up Cowboys plus the points plus and the money line. This is not based on the fact that Brock Purdy has been playing like shit at home. That's not what the bet is based off of. I do think that's interesting. This bet is based off of, first of all, Cowboys are switching their defense up under Mike Zimmer. Last 3 weeks, all of a sudden, the Cowboys are running a shitload of man coverage. That is a problem for Brock Purdy and the 49ers, because who is the guy on the 49ers roster that beats man coverage? Prop Beaver, tell him.
It's the GOAT, Brandon Ayuk.
Not the GOAT, but he is. In terms of beating man coverage, yeah, sure. He's the 49ers GOAT. Deebo Samuel's actually terrible against man coverage. That's not his thing. He's got to get the ball in space, and that's what Deebo does. He's not breaking corners' ankles out there. He's not good at all against man coverage. George Kittle can beat some man coverage. He's banged up, listed as questionable. So that's the target Dallas has to worry about. George Kittle, because Ayuk is out, Jawan Jennings is out. So Cowboys are going to come out in man coverage, and Brock Purdy, who's been terrible at home, he's going to throw a pick or two in this game. And look, on the other side, all of Dak Prescott's splits are reversed this year. He's been the man on the road. And you're thinking, oh, Dak Prescott sucks against the 49ers. Dak Prescott sucks on the road against these bad defenses. Yeah, that's old Dak Prescott. This year's Dak Prescott, ready for his 3 road games? This is actually very crazy. So Dak Prescott on the road, completing just under 70% of his passes, 99.1 passer rating. Want to know against who? If you're saying, oh, well, who cares? It wasn't against the 49ers. His 3 road games at Pittsburgh, at Giants, one of the best pass rushers in the league, at Cleveland, maybe the best pass rush in the league. So Dak Prescott is flipping all of the scripts when it comes to what we know about him. He's going on the road against these elite pass rushes and lighting it up. I had the Steelers in that Sunday night football game against Dallas. I was like, Dak Prescott sucks in these spots. On the road, prime time, against an elite pass rush. He carved that Steelers defense up. I think they had 460 yards in the game. This is a new Dak Prescott. This is a Dak Prescott that beats the 49ers. I'm not a believer in this Dallas Cowboys team, but based on what they've shown us this year, this is when we trust them. At a time where it looks terrible for Dak. At a time where it looks like, oh my God, on the road against the 49ers pass rush? No way. By the way, a 49ers pass rush that's also underperforming. 49ers can't stop the run at all. 49ers defense doesn't look very good. How many good football games have we seen the 49ers play this year? 2? I mean, the Jets in the opener and then the Seahawks game on Thursday night. I'm pretty sure that the only 2 times we've seen the 49ers look good this year. I think the Cowboys are going to win this one, and then we fade them November 10th, home against Philly. Fade them hard. But this one, Dak's going to win.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I definitely like some of the angles for Dak here. I mean, I like the fact that he's on the road. Kyle mentioned it. After being so dominant in one spot for so long, I mean, eventually you have to regress the opposite way, and it just appears that it's happening thus far. The road numbers are clearly better, and then on top of that, you're getting Dak against the 49ers defense that is 8th in 2 high shell usage thus far. You go from 28th in completion percentage to 14th, 21st in yards per attempt to 11th, and 28th in passer rating to 8th. From 1 high to 2 high shells. So he's significantly better against 2 high shells. That's massive right there. And then on top of that, on the other side of the ball, Purdy, as Kyle has mentioned, has been god-awful at home thus far. On top of that, Purdy, yes, he's pretty good at neutralizing pass rushes, but you know when Purdy's not good? When he's blitzed. The Cowboys are blitzing at a top 10 rate thus far. Purdy, when blitzed, 20th in pressure to sack rate, 25th in passer rating, 27th in turnover play rate. So I'm really not loving that. And then, as Kyle mentioned, the new coverage tendencies for the Cowboys. I mean, they've switched to such a man coverage heavy rate recently, and that is terrifying for Purdy because look at Purdy against man thus far. 35th amongst 36 quarterbacks in completion percentage. 33rd amongst 36 quarterbacks in passer rating. He has really, really struggled in these spots. So while I am definitely a bit concerned about the Dallas run game getting going a bit and them stopping the run game, I think that due to the fact that the 49ers are going to lean on the run a bit more, that would burn the clock a bit, and we see a bit of a lower scoring game here. So I'm going to bet the Cowboys with the points. I was able to get 5.5 last night. I know, 5.5 compared to 4.5, not that big of a difference, but I was able to get the 5.5 last night. I was able to get the under, and I really like my play here. Go Cowboys. I feel like when we've doubted the Cowboys the most is when they've showed up this season. So. Yeah,
and I forgot to mention that. I don't know if you did. Someone said McCarthy off a bye.
I forgot
to mention that.
I did not know the stat, but I also believe that McCarthy is good off the bye, right? That is a thing.
Well, that's what this guy said in the comments. McCarthy off a bye is a better record than Andy Reid. I don't know if it's true.
I think it's 11-4-1. Okay.
Ooh, how do you like that? I knew that they were coming off a bye. I didn't know it was that good. Someone asked about the underdog. We're going to do the underdog pick 'em in a second.
Yep.
And the community parlay we're doing in 1 second. It hit yesterday. Chris, last pick of the show, then we'll do the parlay and the underdog pick 'em.
Yeah, I'm on Dallas plus 4.5 as well. I was hoping you guys took San Francisco so we could have some objectivity here, but clearly we don't. It's for what you guys mentioned. You got Dallas coming off. First of all, they're coming off a bye after getting smoked against Detroit, where they scored just 10 points. Trend-wise, dogs who scored less than 10 points in their previous game and they have a winning record, 35, 19, and 3 against the spread in the last decade. That's 65%. And Cal, you mentioned it, like Dallas has been playing a lot better on the road for whatever reason. And why would we think that they're not going to do so continuously? Also, conversely, San Francisco, 2-9 against the spread in their last 11 home games.
Damn.
No Brandon Ayuk. CMC, of course, is still gone.
2-9?
San Francisco 2-9 against the spread in their last 11 home games.
That's not good.
One of the
Not
covers
good at
was
all.
against those piss-ass Jets, too. So
That's true. That's true. Juwan Jennings is out. Dak on the road off a loss, 11-4-1 against the spread. That's 75%. And San Francisco, even if like the game does get close, aren't they like down to their third string kicker? Like they could potentially miss the field goal to win the game in this spot. So yeah, I took Dallas plus the 4.5 here as well.
Someone said Dallas can't stop the run. Actually, Cowboys' run defense is probably better than the 49ers' run defense right now. They've also been terrible stopping the run. All right, let's do underdog fantasy first and community parlay. Real quick, we're about to hit 100,000 subscribers. Just want to thank everyone for all of you that click the subscribe button. Because I don't say it, right? I don't say like, hey, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I don't say that.
Big time,
So
Kyle.
for all of you that went and did it to get us here, freaking sweet. I'm taking everyone out for dinner, and we'll do like a giveaway or something because we're probably going to hit it tomorrow, 100,000 subscribers. So I'll think of something cool. Today, I'll come up with some kind of giveaway or something because I really appreciate you guys that take the time out of your day to watch every day. It truly means a lot.
yeah, wow.
So let's talk about, man, I'm getting emotional up here. Let's talk about underdog fantasy. You have something cooked up for us?
Yes, I wow.
I'll do
that
the
is
community
incredible.
parlay.
Yes, I do have something cooked up for you guys. Last time out, I was able to put up a winner. No plastic bag. No, not plastic bag. I'd kill myself. No paper bag like I had potentially promised if I provided a loser. We got Chris Paul with the over 11.5 rebounds and assists and the Kyron Williams over last time, so we cashed that. For this one, we got Justice Hill lower than 14.5 receiving yards. We got AJ Brown higher than 80.5 receiving yards. And then we got Josh Jacobs lower than 63.5 rushing yards. Those are our 3 plays for today. Trying to make it 2 in a row. If you're not a underdog customer and would like to become one, you could sign up today and potentially add a leg if you don't like one of my legs, or if you want to make a 4th leg, go and add a free pick. It's Dak Prescott higher than a half total yard. If you don't have an underdog and would like to sign up, you could sign up in one of those yellow states right there and get a deposit match up to $1,000, 50%. The promo code is BET. I'm sure you know how to spell BET. It's 3 letters, BET.
Stop with the 3 letters. All right, so the first leg of the community parlay is it's Lions money line by a landslide. Okay, and Jets money line was second, so we'll go back to Jets money line if you voted for that. Community parlay hit yesterday. The college football one again.
Oh.
The community's hot streak is actually getting a little crazy. All right, so next poll. I forget if they voted for Eagles or Bengals because it was close, so I'm just going to put both in the poll. Eagles, Bengals. They voted for the Dolphins. And Packers. Oh, they definitely voted for the Packers. They hated my Jags pick. All right, so cast your votes. Chris, while they're voting for the second leg, you want to tell the nice folks where they can find your stuff if they don't already know?
Yeah, absolutely. All my work can be found over on Twitter at Crispy Cappin 2 P's 2 N's, but also, and most prevalent, on YouTube at Crispy Cappin 2 P's 2 N's. I do a daily show, trying to do a little bit, like if I find something that I really love, like I'm trying to do the overnight videos as well, Kyle, where I do a single game breakdown. So follow all my work over there.
Yeah, the overnight videos, the best way to go would be like these are like 2 or 3 leans I really like. I do like go through the whole slate. That's a lot of work, and a lot of times people fast forward just to hear. So it's like it kills the algorithm there, your view duration. So, but yeah. All right, cast your votes here. Find out what the second leg of this community parlay is. Community's going for 2 in a row. 5, 4,
3, 2, 1. End poll. It's close. Packers.
Okay.
So Bengals money line and Jets money line are going to get another chance. Third poll for the community parlay is going to be Ravens money line. We know you guys love that shit. Bills money line. Saints Chargers money line. Bears Commanders. They like the Bears, I think, in that one. All right, cast your votes for leg number 3 in the community parlay. Mark says he starts every morning with crispy Cappin. I'm sorry to hear that, Chris. You have to deal with Mark every morning.
My God, shout out to Mark.
Mark's a psychopath, man. All right, he changed his picture in the Discord to like a straw like cowboy hat. Thinks he's the man ever since he did that. He's a new person. It's Ravens money line by a landslide. By the way, it's the third leg.
Mark has gained a new sense of being since he changed his...
new Mark, straw hat Mark.
Wow.
Sometimes you got to reinvent yourself.
Yeah, I know. Trust me.
So we got Chiefs money line, Cowboys money line, and then we'll go with Bengals money line and Jets money line, the 2 second place finishers. All right, what's the last leg of this community parlay? Sometimes you got to reinvent yourself, Chris.
True.
Cast your votes. Cast your votes. And it looks like it's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. We got the squarest community parlay ever, but who am I to judge? The community keeps hitting these shits. So I can't make fun of you guys. I need you guys to miss a few so I can start making fun of your square parlays again. So, yeah, it's going to be Chiefs, prop Beaver, definitely.
Okay.
So the community parlay is Lions, Packers, Ravens, Chiefs. I'm on the other side of 3.
Wow.
Ryan's, yeah, I'm on the other. No, I'm not on the other side of the Lions. That was a pass. No. So I'm on the other side of 2 of the community parlay legs.
Right, let me try and get these. Let's test the DK method. Let's see how quick these is. Okay.
I mean, so I'm sure someone will shoot it into the comments.
Ravens, Lions, NFL is actually way quicker too. So Chiefs. And what was the other one? The Packers.
Packers, yep.
The losing team. Okay, so that's a plus 170.
What is it?
Plus 170.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. I mean,
it's plus 170.
I mean, dude, we have a 9.5.
Oh my
God.
God.
So a lot of those.
I don't even respect you, community. Plus 170 with 4 legs.
We gave you dogs. We gave you sharp dogs, and this is what you give us.
Ravens, Lions, and Chiefs all laying like what 9 or more. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right, the community parlay is plus 170. A real home run swing from the community here.
Get rich.
Thanks everyone for watching. As always, we'll be back tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Chris will be here. We'll be back, guys. Until college football ends, I can't do NBA on the weekends. Once we get to Thanksgiving and college football ends, we'll be NBA every day. But college football is truly like it steals days of sleep from you. So I can't do NBA and college football on the weekend. So this week we'll be back doing NBA every day, Monday Night Football, college football week, same schedule. Thanks everyone for clicking the subscribe button. We're about to hit 100K. Next time you see my face, we might have it. So everyone, enjoy your football Sunday. Please bet responsibly. Later.